everyone? I'm Jeff London. This is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast, where we are intolerant of weak-minded attitudes that keep people from pursuing new and exciting things in the areas of fitness, outdoors, and general lifestyle. I'm going to address two changes that are taking place. One of them has already taken place, so this is not a surprise, but the Ketchikan Char Salmon Derby is currently going on. It started this weekend. Runs this weekend, next weekend, the 25th and 26th, and then the third weekend is September 1st through the 3rd. The change is that it used to be a king salmon derby in the spring, but now because of king salmon numbers and concern about escapement, it was changed to a coho salmon derby, and then changed to this time of year. King salmon has always been something that's, it's kind of the main draw, and fishing on Prince of Wales Island is definitely something that, people come up for and try to catch the fish, but it's been a tough year for king salmon. And obviously theories are just going bonkers. So people have so many different ideas about what's going on to it. Is it the charter fisherman? Is it the commercial fisherman? Is it, there was a fishing vessel that had hundreds and thousands of pounds of illegally caught fish in our waters. So, what is the cause? Like, what's happening here? Big, huge concerns, and especially with British Columbia still having higher bag limits for king salmon, people are concerned, or some of the locals are concerned that people are going to start going to British Columbia rather than come back to Prince of Wales, or to the Ketchikan area or Southeast Alaska in general. If you want to catch a bunch of fish and big fish, and you're not going to be limited by either closures in the king salmon in Southeast Alaska, or you're only limited to one, people might go elsewhere. And then you start talking about the hatcheries, and you talk about salmon enhancement program. So you've got hatchery fish that are meant to enhance the populations, and just a whole bunch of different things going on there. But really interesting to see where this goes. Hopefully it's just a couple of years in a row that's kind of a lull, and we haven't reached a tipping point for the salmon populations. So the Ketchikan Char Salmon Derby is going on right now. It's a nice sunny day. I am inside. I'm not fishing the derby. It gets kind of crazy when you get out there. You got everybody out there in boats and cruising around. It's kind of a fun environment, but just kind of go down to the dock and see what people have been doing. I much prefer going to the river and fish than out in the ocean, but I do love the ocean too. So the salmon derby is going on right now. Interesting change. Hopefully people are really understand why it was changed, and hopefully next year or years in the future, the escapement goals can be met for some of the local kings rivers around here, and we can get that mood back, and everything's fine to go. But you can't wonder. Can't help but wonder. It's been a pretty weak year for fish so far. Salmon too. There have been some cohos that have shown up, but the rivers are really low. The water's been really warm, and so when I was in Prince of Wales before I came back over in late July, water was super, super low, and that first little run of cohos that were coming up there, they pretty much just got cooked. In some of those small areas, they were dying, and so the bears were getting on them. But it was a pretty light. It wasn't a real light snowpack, and then we just didn't have any rain to supplement. Last year there was a pretty light snowpack too, but there was just a ton of rain during the summer, and so it kept the rivers up. And at some point, the snowpack's going to be gone anyway. So it's going to be reliant on some of that summer rain, which we usually get, and we just didn't really get a whole lot of it. When there has been calls for rain, it hasn't really dumped a whole lot of rain, so the rivers have been pretty consistently low. So as much as I enjoy the nice weather and really like the nice weather, it's if we have a couple days where there's a ton of rain to help the fish get to where they need to be, then that definitely would be a good thing. So interesting salmon year. Hope it's just a lull again, and things get back to normal after that. But you wonder. You can't help but wonder. Second resource thing here I want to talk about is about deer on Prince of Wales. The U.S. Department of Interior, the Federal Subsistence Management Board, came up with a reduction of deer harvest in Unit 2 for non-federally qualified users. So I'm going to read from a press release that came out on the 16th of this month, a couple days ago. The Craig Thornbay District Ranger is issuing an emergency special action to restrict the harvest limit of deer by non-federally qualified users up to two male deer on federally managed public lands in Unit 2. So on Prince of Wales Island, which is Unit 2 and the surrounding islands there, much of it is Tongass National Forest, and so it's federally regulated. And so if you don't qualify for federal subsistence, your deer limit has gone from 4 to 2. And this predominantly impacts, you do have some people that travel to Prince of Wales, and so you're going to have some people from different states who may have wanted to come up here and get more. Pretty expensive because of the $300 tags. But this really affects Unit 1, specifically Ketchikan, because Ketchikan is not federally, they're not rural, so you don't have the qualified user to get subsistence. A lot of Ketchikan people go over to Prince of Wales and get the deer because the populations of deer on Revilla aren't as high. The road system isn't nearly as intricate. There's not as many roads, so you can't access Revilla nearly as well. So it takes a lot of work, and so Prince of Wales is descended upon by a lot of people, and a lot of people go over there and get their deer. So if you're not rural or you don't qualify, then you can only get 2, and it has been 4. And so a lot of people are a little upset about that because if you're counting on getting your deer, and even if you don't qualify as a subsistence user, that doesn't mean that you don't count on deer for your meat. So this decision was made based on, again, I'm reading from the press release now again. The district ranger is taking this action based on extensive public testimony and traditional ecological knowledge provided to the Federal Subsistence Board, showing subsistence needs for deer were not being met. Adoption of this reduced harvest limit for non-federally qualified users will increase opportunity for federally qualified subsistence users. This emergency special action is effective immediately, so that's started the 16th, and will expire in 60 days or when the 2018-2020 federal subsistence wildlife regulations are published in the Federal Register, whichever occurs first. So it's on, and it has been reduced. Really interesting. Really interesting for sure. As a follow-up for that, this is a press release from the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. This came out on the same day. There's going to be a discussion, a deer and wolf management discussion for game management units 1A and 2. So it's Ketchikan and surrounding Prince of Wales and surrounding islands. Again, this is from the release. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game will hold a meeting to provide the public with information regarding deer and wolf management in game management units 1A and 2. There will be a presentation followed by open discussion. Topics of discussion include, number 1, federal regulation changes to deer harvest in Unit 2. Number 2, Units 1A and 2 deer abundance trends. And number 3, wolf abundance and proposed Unit 2 management strategy. That is going to be the 28th of August from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Ketchikan Borough Chambers. Public is encouraged to attend. Light refreshments will be provided. For more information, contact the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, Conservation Office at 907-225-2475. So this is a really interesting dynamic here. Being someone who grew up on Prince of Wales and now living in Ketchikan, I used to be a Unit 2 hunter, now I'm a Unit 1A hunter. Going to Prince of Wales to get deer because there's a lot of deer over there. But it's the difficult thing about this is what's happened as a result. You don't have a unified front of hunters that are now caring about the resource. It used to kind of be hunters against people making decisions on behalf of this area who don't know anything about the area. The last couple of years, it was the wolves, and it was a matter of protecting the wolves and saving the wolves. And so hunters in this area were unified behind trying to protect the resource from mismanagement regarding wolves. And people thought that there'd be too many wolves and the wolf population was going to explode. And the studies that had been done were drastically underestimating the amount of wolves on the island. So the efforts to conserve and outside money and outside people that saw Prince of Wales Island wolves the way they see wolves in the lower 48. So you look at areas that don't have wolves anymore. And so if I happen to live in California and my idea of what a wolf is something that was eradicated. Other areas of the country too, where wolves used to be beautiful and roam, but now they're gone. Well, they're still beautiful, but they've been wiped out by humans. And so if you're looking at it through that lens, you're going to apply that same lens no matter where you are. And you might not understand just how different Alaska is.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
There was I was reading an article in the Juneau Empire, and there was a commenter from Massachusetts who made a comment about, or commented on an article that wolves should be viewed and they should not be harvested. Which, if I feel a little bit sorry for the guy, or I don't know if I feel sorry for the guy, but he just doesn't know what he's talking about. He has not been. You don't live in Southeast Alaska, you don't know how it is, right? If you look at Prince of Wales Island, you've been on Prince of Wales Island, you know just how unbelievably dense the forest is. I mean, you have logging, and there's some really nasty looking clear cuts, but there's just so much territory, and it's not gridded out by roads and tract homes like it is in the lower 48. And so to get accurate counts of wolves would just be so difficult, and they can live everywhere, they can roam everywhere. So the ecosystem is so different, and allowing or to get the wolves protected could lead to a dip in the deer population, which people, that was kind of the initial threat. And so now the hunters aren't necessarily unified against the threat with wolves. The hunters have essentially been divided here now because there's a lot of people in Ketchikan who are upset about Prince of Wales. This is just talk, postings on social media don't constitute any sort of real action. They're just posts on Facebook. But there are people who are talking about from the Ketchikan area boycotting Prince of Wales and not going over there, which if it's hard to not assume how Ketchikan residents would be seen as a main culprit by this action. I'm not sure what the number is, but the amount of hunters from Ketchikan, what they account for as far as the take is I want to say around 23% of the take is from outside of Prince of Wales, and so people can be very upset about that for sure, and say that, well, you're blaming Ketchikan for this low deer population, and that's what when you have the rural board or the federal subsistence making a decision that sides with Prince of Wales, and it kind of divides the two groups of hunters, then you're not unified in this front to protect the resource. On the flip side of that, if you live in Unit 2, if you live on Prince of Wales, why shouldn't you have first shot at the deer? Like, you live there, It's totally reasonable to expect people to have first dibs if they happen to live there. So while people from Ketchikan go over there and they depend on deer meat to feed themselves and feed their families, Prince of Wales residents live there and do the same thing. So the cost over there is much higher for meat, and for produce and everything is so much more expensive at the grocery stores. So you can see from both sides. You can see how someone from Prince of Wales might blame the Ketchikan hunters from going over there and pillaging the resource, and you can see how the Ketchikan hunters can say, well, the Prince of Wales people, we don't even account for that much killing of the deer. But either way, whatever you believe as far as what's at fault, you've definitely got a little bit of a divide here in the hunters, which is not good. The more the blame goes back and forth, or the discussion becomes less about, hey, let's protect this resource going forward, then what happens? If this doesn't solve the issue, and a lot of people don't think it will, then we could be reaching a tipping point. The focus is kind of off the wolves, or it's some people are still focused on the wolves, but not a lot of people trap them. And so I've seen some pictures people have posted. I've seen a bunch of wolves this last summer too. People are posting pictures of deer who are. It's just horrific seeing the hind section of the deer being eaten by wolves, and they bleed out. Some that are jumping off cliffs to avoid wolves, and just it's crazy. It's pretty. And again, that has always happened. It's not right now. They just started doing that. That's just part of it. Black bears eat fawns, and wolves eat deer. That is what it is. But if you're talking about a deer population that might be dipping, and what if we're getting to the point where this is a tipping point? It's not just a couple of years of lull or low years. What if we get past a point to which things aren't going to recover? That's the scary thing. And the more that there's kind of blaming both sides or the opposite side, and hunters aren't unified, the more there could be a big problem here. And there's opportunities for people to go to these discussions. And if you're not going to the discussions, the people are making decisions based on limited knowledge. If this initial decision by the Department of the Interior was done based on public testimony and ecological knowledge to the Federal Subsistence Board. And so the Federal Subsistence Board makes a decision based on the information that they get. And if, are they getting all the information? Are they getting some information? Are they getting emotional information? It's hard to point the finger at one person if you're upset at this. It's hard to point the finger at one predator or one, is it a little bit of climate change, a little bit of wolves, a little bit of bear hunters, probably a little bit of everything, right? So, but definitely a hot topic issue, and definitely something that's weighing on the minds of people. And the season has started, and now you're looking at maybe half the amount of deer that you can get. But again, if you're in Ketchikan, you can still hunt Ketchikan area. But there's, like I said, there's not the access to the outdoors is pretty tough. Some of the other things that I've heard as far as addressing this is to make a size requirement that you cannot shoot anything smaller than a fork. So it's got to have both sides forks, which would allow there's some really, really small spikes that get taken, some just small little nubs. Not get a whole lot of meat off those. In the interest of full disclosure, the first buck that I took last year was a spike. It was my bow, first ever deer with a bow, and had a pretty good body for a spike. I was a little nub guy, but I'm not going to do that again, just because give it some time to grow a little bit and get more meat. So that's a suggestion that seems to have a little bit of traction. Some people have talked about that, but either way, I think it's important to be involved in this conversation, and then take the conversation to to people who are going to listen. Your Facebook messages, and you might have a good idea of what's going on there, but going to the meetings, going to the discussions, I think those are important things to go and be part of for sure. And also, looking at listening, the more that people go there with too much emotion and blaming other people, then the more people are going to shut down. So if you go there and start calling people names, then, or same thing online, people are going to listen to you if they're on the defensive. And so putting information out there that's going to be listened to, and then listening to other people, I think is going to be important. It's ultimately going to come down to wolves. That's the one thing we kind of unify around. They've tried to have discussions where it's not, you can't talk about wolves, but this is a predator-prey issue. Hunters being predators as well, but also wolves being predators. And if the wolf population has doubled in the last couple of years over in Prince of Wales, and it just shows that there are a lot of deer over there in order to support that population. But at what point, again, do wolves make it, tip it over the point? So that's what's going on there. Weird, strange, maybe scary times for king salmon, and weird, strange, scary time for blacktail deer. Hopefully things come out all right. Again, I got some deer in the freezer, which is nice. But you just wonder what's going on. That'll do it for this episode. There a lot of stuff going on. Again, these are important issues that people kind of need to be involved in. And if you're not going to be super involved and go to the meetings, at least be someone who doesn't, try to avoid the blaming back and forth, blaming Prince of Wales Island people, blaming Ketchikan people, because that really doesn't do anything. Ultimately, we need to be united in this sort of front about what we're going to do and how we're going to preserve this. So if you can't go to the meetings, just keep that in mind, that as hunters, we're in this together, and we can't lose track of that. The unified front is going to be really important, and right now it seems like it might be there be some cracks in that a little bit. And there's always been a rivalry between Ketchikan and Prince of Wales, which is fine, sports and hunting, whatever. But be important going forward that we stay together on this, and we talk about things, and we have some reasonable things, and we listen to other people. Even if we disagree with them, kind of see where they're coming from. And then make sure that the recommendations, these committees, these boards that are making these decisions have as much knowledge as possible going forward. So we're going to call that quick episode, episode 55. And make sure you check out the mediocrealaskan.com. Make sure you check out my column every other Friday in the Juneau Empire. That's where that one is now. One previously from the Capital City Weekly. Now it's in the Juneau Empire. So thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.